No, the bed stays. I dragged it up here for a reason, Kiki. It's a journalistic prop. You cannot photograph it like it's a crime scene.
We're on. The glow-in-the-dark stars are still on the ceiling, Kiki. The ones he stuck up at age 9. He is now 27, and he is looking at them again every single night from the same twin bed. And the economy is described as, it is Monday, June 1st, 2026. We were off for the weekend. The weekend kept working without us. Tonight, a number just climbed to a height this country has not touched since breadlines, and we hit it during what everyone keeps calling the strongest economy of our lives. We'll tell you which generation is sleeping under the same ceiling fan it grew up under, and why nobody in charge seems to find that strange. Sports. A 22-year-old who is taller than your front door sat on an arena floor last night and could not get up. And a 15-year-old just rewrote a record built by a man twice his size. Also, a man tied something to himself on purpose. We'll let that one sit a moment. And a scientist watched a bird do something it would prefer we not discuss. And the conclusion quietly dismantles 40 years of how we've been reading every creature that feels caged. I'm Sloan.
And I'm Kiki. Good morning, my sweet little adult children.
The following program contains strong language, adult themes, satire, and a quantity of generational economic data that some of you will be receiving from the same childhood bedroom in which you first heard the word recession. We are not responsible for any rent you cannot pay or any parent you must now thank. Viewer discretion is, frankly, recommended. So is calling your mother. The story tonight starts with a living arrangement, specifically a very old one. The kind where a grown adult, a person with a degree and a job and opinions about politics, wakes up under the same roof they woke up under at age 9. For most of the last 80 years, that was the exception, the thing that happened when something went wrong. This year, it stopped being the exception and started being close to the rule. And the part that should stop the room is the timing. This is not happening during a crash. There is no crash. The markets are setting records. The reports are glowing. By every official number, this is one of the strongest economies on record. And it has produced a living situation last seen when men were selling apples on corners. Those two facts are standing in the same room, and only one of them is on the news.
I think it's cozy, though. There's something warm about a full house, somebody to eat dinner with, somebody who remembers how you like your eggs. My grandmother lived with us until I was 12, and the house was never quiet, not once. And I miss that specific kind of loud.
It's warm when it's chosen, Kiki. We're about to talk about what it is when it isn't. When the full house isn't a tradition, it's a verdict. There's a number attached to this. There's a year it last matched. And there's a sentence this generation got told their whole lives that turns out to be missing its last 3 words. We'll get to all of it. Here's the part the headline skips. The last time this number was this high, 45% of adults under 30 living with their parents, it was 1940. 1940. We have, statistically, returned a generation to the housing conditions of the Great Depression. Except this time, we did it during what every quarterly report calls a historically strong economy. A strong economy is supposed to mean people can afford to leave. That's the whole tell of one. So either the economy is not what the report says it is, or strong now describes a thing that happens to the stock, and not to the person standing in it. The S&P set records this year. The 26-year-old set up a futon in the room he grew up in.
But Sloan, I want to actually defend this. For most of human history, the multi-generational household was the household. Grandma, the parents, the kids, all under one roof, sharing the soup, sharing the rent. The nuclear family alone in a starter home was the weird experiment. We're not failing. We're going back to what worked.
Kiki, the multi-generational household worked because it was a choice made by people who could also afford the other thing. The shared soup is lovely when it's a tradition. It's something else when it's the only soup available because a one-bedroom in the city he wants to work in costs 60% of what that job pays before taxes. That's not a return to tradition. That's a return to the math.
And here's the sentence that should end a country. The exact generation that got told, by a podcast, by a LinkedIn post, by a 48-year-old in a vest he expensed, to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, cannot afford the bootstraps, or the boots, or the floor the boots would stand on.
The bootstrap was the marketing. The boot was never in stock. We built an economy that posts its own honor roll in numbers nobody can sleep in, then mailed the bill to the kids who inherited it and called them lazy for opening the envelope. They are not failing to launch. There is no launch pad. There's a childhood bedroom, a 45% chance you're in one right now, and a generation discovering that the American sentence, work hard, leave home, build your own, quietly lost its last 3 words. Work hard. That's all that's left. Just work hard. There's no launch pad, just work hard. I'm going to hand this to someone who launched out of nothing, into a garage against everyone's advice. Aubrey Joe is in the garage. Rent status, unknown.
She has her own place loan with a fern.
Kiki, I have a place, I have a fern, I have a neighbor with a harmonica, and I have been sitting back here about to come apart at the seams because a 22-year-old French cathedral cried on national television last night. Let's go! Victor Wembanyama, Game 7 against the defending champs. 2 weeks ago, I told you this kid fouled out, sat under a towel like a French widow, and the NBA warned him for not wanting to talk. Last night, he led his team to a Game 7 win over the champs, and then he cried. On the floor, 7'4" and weeping into his own jersey, and I felt every fucking inch of it in my chest. That is what winning cost. You cannot generate that. You cannot expense that in a vest. Meanwhile, the French Open fined the Paraguayan player named Vallejo $76,000 for a sexist remark to the umpire. 76 grand, good, pay it. And Norway beat Canada in the bronze medal game at the Hockey World Championship and won their first ever medal. Canada at hockey! A nation of fjords and cross-country skiers walked into Canada's house and took the bronze. I bet not one of those Norwegian boys is living in his mother's basement. They're all out there fishing and being well-adjusted. It's sickening.
A whole country of well-rested men in sweaters.
And Vaibhav Suryavanshi back again. The 15-year-old, not old enough to drive, just became the youngest player ever to win MVP of the entire IPL. The kid I said I have socks older than, that kid is now the most valuable player in a billion-person league. 15. He's going to get drafted, get paid, and buy his parents a house, which is more than 45% of his American counterparts can. Okay, no, I'm not doing Sloan's shit. That's her bit. I'm doing my bit. All right. Yesterday evening, in the unfinished basement of the Holstead County Lutheran Church Rec Hall, they were running a youth group lock-in. They did not consent. They have billed somebody. The inaugural Greater Holstead Childhood Bedroom Furniture Relay took place in front of approximately 17 spectators. One youth pastor visibly regretting his life choices, and Gerald, who was sitting on a twin mattress against the wall like he'd always lived there. The sport. You carry a fully assembled twin bed frame 100 meters down a hallway and reassemble it at the far end. Fastest mover in wins. Derek registered as Pratt Twing Holstead the 15th and arrived having spent the weekend rigging Margaret's bed frame with a remote-triggered set of casters and a fishing line he'd anchored to the far wall, planning to yank her frame sideways into the drywall the instant she lifted it. Derek hit the trigger the second Margaret picked up her frame. The fishing line went taut. The fishing line, which Derek had, I cannot stress this enough, tied to his own belt loop for tension control, yanked Derek across the hallway, through his own assembly zone and head first into the church's stacked folding chairs, where he became fully entangled in a bed frame that was not his, while the casters he'd installed sent it rolling gently down the hall in a slow, dignified arc directly into the baptismal font. Margaret, carrying a frame she had pre-loosened every bolt on at home, walked 100 meters at a pace the youth pastor described as like a woman who has moved before, reassembled it in 4 minutes flat, and lay down on it. Margaret won her 17th consecutive event. Travis helped me move once, carried my whole bed up 3 flights and didn't say a word about it. Set it down, looked at it like it owed him money, said, "There, you live here now." Like it was a fact he was filing with the county. I still live there. Anyway, sports.
He tied the sabotage line to his own belt loop for tension control.
I think the bed thing is sweet, actually. Somebody carries the heavy part up the stairs and tells you it's yours now, and you just believe them. You believe a stranger about where your life is. I've done that more than once.
Kiki, he rolled a bed into a baptismal font. The frame got baptized. Derek did not. Derek got chairs. But yeah, no, the carrying part. Somebody carrying the heavy part up the stairs? That's... Okay, I gotta stop. I'm gonna cry at a bed frame. What is wrong with me today?
You know what nobody carries up the stairs for you? Your own happiness. And speaking of self-sufficiency, there's a study going around. It's unverified, but the finding is just darling. Researchers looked at masturbation in birds and concluded it is, quote, completely natural, not harmful, and not caused by the stress of captivity. In fact, and this is the part, it is more common in wild birds than captive ones.
So the free birds are doing it more than the caged ones, which inverts every assumption the study was funded to confirm. They expected the captive birds, bored, stressed, stuck in the cage, to be the ones acting out. Instead, the birds with the entire sky available to them are the enthusiastic participants. Freedom did not reduce the behavior. Freedom expanded the schedule.
That's so affirming, Sloan. It means it's not a symptom. It's not a cry for help. The wild bird, with all of nature laid out in front of it, with no landlord, with nowhere it has to be, chooses joy. That's a creature that has truly launched.
Kiki, the actual finding underneath the headline is more interesting than the headline, which is the opposite of how this usually goes. For decades, captive animal behavior was read as pathology. The bird does the thing, therefore the cage broke the bird. This study quietly demolishes that. The behavior was never the damage. The damage was assuming that anything a trapped thing does must be because it's trapped.
So what you're saying is the cage was never the problem, and we should all stop checking on each other.
That's not. We have been diagnosing the cage by watching the bird and getting the bird wrong. A generation watched a 45% statistic and 100 think pieces, explained that the kids stuck at home must be broken, anxious, coddled, failed to launch. And here's a study about a bird, of all things, saying the thing the trapped creature does is not proof the trap made it. Sometimes the bird is fine, and the diagnosis is the cage talking. The wild ones just got more room to be itself in. We keep examining the wrong end of the cage.
Hey, so everybody in there is talking about the kids who can't leave home, and I've been looking at the map, and the map is doing the opposite. Denver is at 75 degrees with 62 mile-per-hour winds. 62. That's a hairdryer on high held against an entire city. No storm. Clear-ish. The wind is just shoving Denver around for no reason, it filed. Los Angeles and Seattle are tied at 46 miles an hour. Two cities that agree on nothing have agreed on a wind speed, which I find suspicious. New York and Chicago are weather twins, both at 29, both stuck in the 68 to 71 degree, fine, I guess, zone. And then there's Miami. 91 degrees. clear. While the entire rest of the country is reaching for a light jacket, Miami is the one kid who moved out, got his own place, and is sweating in it alone, 23 degrees away from everybody he grew up with. Okay, since I have you, I need to get something off my chest. And it's not the wind. There's a thing moving right now. It's in the actual text of a bill. This isn't a forum post. It's the House's 2027 defense authorization that would, quote, integrate the United States and Israeli militaries. Integrate. Fuse them. Shared command structure, shared procurement, aid moved further into the part of the budget nobody gets to read. And the word they used is the same word Kiki used about the birds. Natural. Routine. Not a change, of a formalization of what was already happening. The exact move from segment 1. Nobody decided to merge two militaries. The militaries were, regrettably, integrated. By the calendar. While somebody promoted somebody. Two militaries. The way LA and Seattle are tied at 46. Two things that should not agree, agreeing exactly, and being told it's the weather. The forecast is Denver gets blasted, Miami sweats alone, the twins stay fine, and the integration is, per the bill, modernization. Back to you.
They used natural, the same word.
Blaze, sweetie. The one kid who moved out and is sweating in it alone. That one's going where I keep things.
Kiki, for the last time, where's the place you keep the things? No, fine, the wind. Denver 62 on the nose, I checked. Blaze, you beautiful paranoid weather vane. The one city that got out and now it's just standing there in the heat by itself, wondering if it should have stayed.
This one is unverified, but I am told it is being reported as fact, which is its own genre now. A man in India has a collection of 800 paper cups. 800. Disposable paper cups. And his advice to the world, on the record, is, quote, commit to your passion.
800, Sloan! Each one different. Can you imagine the joy of a man who looked at the single most disposable object civilization makes, the cup you throw away before your coffee is even cold, and said, no, not this one. This one comes home with me. 800 times. That's not hoarding, that's devotion.
The detail that gets me is that paper cups are designed, engineered, intentionally, to be worthless after one use. There is an entire industry whose goal is to make sure you do not keep this object. And one man, in defiance of that entire system, kept 800 of them. He found the one thing the world agreed had no value and assigned it all of his.
And he's right, Sloan. Commit to your passion. It doesn't say commit to a good passion, or a useful one, or one anybody else understands. The cup doesn't have to matter to the cup. It has to matter to him. That's the whole sentence. That's more than most people commit to anything.
A man built a world record out of garbage by simply refusing to throw it away. And his life advice is more emotionally coherent than anything I read in the Wall Street Journal this week. 800 cups. 0 of them hold anything. He has never been more full. Okay, anyway, that's the cups.
Welcome to Fuck Back the Candle Blowers. I am dedicating this week to the paper cup guy who committed to 800 pieces of garbage with more conviction than I've committed to anything except this segment. Let's blow out some goddamn candles. Today, June 1st, Tom Holland turns 30. Spider-Man, the little British gymnast who got the suit. And I love this kid because he is the one celebrity who actually moved out and built the thing. 29 years old when he got engaged. His own house, his own production company. He is the 45%'s worst nightmare. He launched so hard he does his own stunts. Happy birthday, you flippy little bastard! June 3rd, Biba Doobie turns 26. Filipino, British, indie pop. And if your aunt doesn't know who she is, your niece does. And your niece is the one whose opinion is gonna matter in 10 years. So write it down. This woman makes bedroom pop. Literally music recorded in a bedroom, which is the most on-theme birthday I could have pulled this week. A whole genre named after the room 45% of you are watching this from. Happy birthday! June 5th, Troye Sivan turns 31. Australian, former YouTuber, now an actual pop star with actual hits. And I'm flagging this one because Troye Sivan got out of the bedroom YouTube thing and into the stadium thing, which almost nobody does. The internet eats those kids alive, and he just didn't get eaten. He read the room being the entire internet. He's fine. He's better than fine. Happy birthday. And June 6th, DeAndre Hopkins turns 34. Star receiver, hands like flypaper. The man catches balls people did not throw to catchable places. 34 in the NFL is ancient. That's a grandfather in cleats. And he's still out there making defensive backs file incident reports. Happy birthday to the hands. Travis would have fought me about Hopkins. He had this whole thing. Receivers don't win games. The ball wins games. The receiver's just where the ball decided to be. I told him that was insane. He said, name one reason it's not. I never did. I keep meaning to. His birthday's coming up, actually. I looked it up. Anyway, that's the candles. Happy birthday to the ones who got out.
Okay, sweet friends, the viewer mailbag. 16 episodes in. Drop a comment on any of our videos. We read every single one, we answer them right here, and your name will live in our mouths for one shining national moment. So, if you've got a question about anything we covered today, the bird study, the paper cups, the kids at home, just leave it below and we will absolutely...
Every time.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so 2 things. First one, the 45% thing. The kid's living at home. My son's 26. He's downstairs right now. My question is that bad? Like, for him or for me? Because I kind of like having him here. Is that weird?
Sir, that is not weird. That is a man who carried the heavy part up the stairs and decided to stay. You keep him as long as he'll let you.
Okay, yeah. Second one, the plant guy, Travis. My wife's cousin swears she saw his name on a church youth group sign-up sheet, a lock-in. She wrote it down.
Oh, your wife's cousin. What a wonderful family, sweetie. All of you noticing things together. You tell her we just adore the things she writes down, and we want her to keep writing them right there at home, cozy, far away from any churches.
He wasn't at the lock-in.
Right. Okay. First time calling.
He's going to ask if his son can pay rent and chores. I can feel it. And he'll call back to tell us. And if you want to be in the mailbag, comment on any of our videos. We read every one. You end up right here.
I'm just saying, if a hot dog is a sandwich, then a taco is a sandwich, then a calzone is a sandwich, then a pie is a sandwich, and at that point, sandwich means nothing, and we've lost the only word that was holding civilization together.
The pigeon's gone. The one from Friday. The sill's just empty now. I checked twice. I don't know how I feel about it.
One of you has dismantled the concept of lunch, and the other one is grieving a pigeon, and I am the one holding the keys to the building.
Take such good care of yourselves out there, sweet friends. If somebody you love is downstairs right now, go down and sit with them. Not to fix anything, just so the house has 2 people in it. I'll see you tomorrow. I promise I will see you tomorrow.
The pigeon left, and the integration's getting called modernization. And the kid moved to Miami to sweat alone. Things that should be twins, agreeing on a number, while nobody warns anybody. I'm watching the ones that hold still. Have a night.
A 15-year-old won MVP of 1 billion people, and a man kept 800 paper cups, and both of them committed harder than I've committed to a gym membership. The kids are gonna be fine. See you tomorrow.
45% of you are watching this from home. We mean that literally. Good night. I lived with my parents until I was 24. Best apartment I ever had. Nobody tells you that part.